Photoshop's content-aware scale and move tools can help us to scale images without distorting important elements, as well as reposition objects and automatically fill in areas that were left behind. I'm going to begin by converting this background into a layer by clicking on the lock icon. And then I want to view a guide that I've already dragged out into the image, so I'll choose to show guides. So let's imagine that we need to scale this image so that it fits within this square image instead of the entire rectangular image. In order to do so, I'm going to choose the Edit menu and then Content Aware Scale. If I start dragging one of the handles, the constrain proportions is on by default. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key and then drag in order to distort the image as I drag. Now, as I drag this over, we can see that Photoshop is trying to intelligently scale this image. So it's trying to scale down those areas that have lower frequencies, like the clouds in the background area, and leave the areas like the roof and the building alone. Now, let's go ahead and drag this out to that guide. And if I want to see what this would look like without the content aware technology, I can drag the amount slider down to the left. So we can see that the house would be quite squished, but with the content aware technology, it's not nearly as distorted. Now, if there's something in your image that you really need to protect, well, I'm going to click the cancel to cancel out of here. And we can select that. In this case, I'll use the lasso tool. So I'll tap the L key to select the lasso and then just drag a very rough selection around the house. Then, in order to save this selection so that the content aware scale technology can use it, I just need to choose the select menu and then save the selection. I'll call the selection house and then save that. Then I'll use Command D in order to deselect and return to the Edit menu to Content Aware Scale. I'll start scaling it and hold down the Shift key, but this time I'm going to use the Protect menu to change it to House. And now we can see as I continue to scale, Photoshop is going to leave the house alone until it gets to the point where it absolutely has to scale it. All right, let's go ahead and drag that back out to the guide. And before I tap return or enter to apply it, I should just mention that, of course, this also works going in the opposite direction. All right, let's go ahead and apply that. And next, let's take a look at this image where we can use the Content Aware Move tool to reposition an object and automatically fill in the area that's left behind. So I'll choose Content Aware Move, and I want to move this bird over into this area, but there are actually two birds already there. So before we do that, let's use the Spot Healing Brush tool, and I'm just going to paint over these birds in order to get rid of them. All right, then we'll return to the Content Aware Move tool. I can click and drag a rough selection around the bird and then reposition it in the image where I want it to be. Now we can see that it's given me the transformation handles because if I was moving this in perspective, I might need to either increase or decrease the size of the content that I'm moving. I'll use Command Z to undo that, and then let's apply the transformation. Then I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Command H to hide the marching ants here, just so that we can see if the colors match. And you can see that they don't. So there are two options. We can change the structure or the color even after we've applied the content aware move, as long as we haven't deselected those marching ants. So I'm going to increase the color slider. We can see that Photoshop does a much better job of matching the colors. All right, I'll use Command H to bring back those marching ants and then Command D in order to deselect it. You'll also notice that Photoshop has filled in the area over here in the sky where the bird originally was. So as you can see, Photoshop has several different tools, all that use the content aware technology that can help scale images to fit within different aspect ratios without distorting important areas of the photo, as well as reposition images and automatically fill in the missing areas.